Thank you, Mr. Dirks, for being here tonight at the evening session of our Business Strategy in Action program. We have invited you to come and talk about the BNB strategy, and we would like to ask you some more questions. First of all, what are the most important challenges BNP Paribas Fortis is facing today?
First of all, we have the economic challenges. We have, in addition, I think, a changing world in terms of customer behavior. And so to address all of this, we really needed, I think, a refocused strategy with an important element also of cultural change to be able to address the future.
What are the most important strategic priorities top management has identified?
We live in a world where the client is asking from his bank to be able to contact the bank 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at any time, anywhere. So how can we cope with that, with this evolution from the physical bank with the network to the digital bank, the combination of a network but also of a digital bank? But also in a context where this customer really wants to be in the driver's seat. It's not the customer anymore of 20, 25 years ago. He knows very well the services that are there. He has contacts via social media with communities, and so he's much, much more in the driver's seat. I think that's clearly a first element. The second element for me is also how are we going to able, because we have some very small weaknesses in terms of profitability, in terms of cost-income ratio, how are we going to address it? And that's not always cutting costs, it's also looking at how can we develop a better pricing strategy to see where the value is. So yes, indeed, quite a focused approach on some elements, and again, that should lead us to this better bank we want to build.
Okay. The participants of Business Strategy in Action need to focus on the business unit strategy. What is the relation with the corporate strategy?
I think first, an important element, when we decided a few months ago to revisit the strategy, and it's a little bit of an answer to your question, we started to say we need a strategy which is built from the people on the floor, from people who really understand the company, and not only because they understand very well the company, but also when they will propose a strategy, they will be aligned with the strategy. So in fact, we started a process where a lot of people were involved, and it was indeed a bottom-up approach. So I think it gives in part an answer to your question. Secondly, I think, yes, it's true that you have this build-up and all the segments and all the different métiers come up with some strategic objectives. But on the other hand, you must also see to it that it remains something where there is a common focus. And so on the one hand, it's always finding the right balance between this bottom-up approach, but then see to it that, again, you can translate it in 4 strategic objectives. So there must also be focus. And it's, I think, this eternal process of bottom-up, but focus, and have an alignment in the entire company that we have tried to achieve.
What is top management expecting from participants in this program to contribute to that strategy and the implementation?
It's a very good question, because we feel that, yes, you try to have a strategy, but this is not a process, certainly in a world that changes so quickly, which ends. It has to continue. And our hope and also what we want to realize is that we continuously have small groups of people, and we call this the Limlet experience because we did it in April in Limlet, that small groups of people will help management to define priorities, to help focus management on a certain number of issues. And then I think groups like this one can be very helpful because with the questions you see that they are very much interested, and I think they should be involved in this kind of process. This kind of program is very important in that kind of reflection, and basically that's why we invite them at programs like this FLERIC program.